The greatest trick that was ever pulled was for the devil to convince the world that he didn't exist. Right? Oh, he's not there. Evil is all around the world. It's everywhere. But everyone pretends like they don't see it. You're not allowed to talk about it. To talk about it is to invite it into your life. The devil wants everyone ignorant of him. But again, the trick was convincing the world that he didn't exist, that he was not what it was believed he was. Well, I'm going to say it right here at the front of the video. The devil is a woman in a red dress. And the greatest trick that's being convinced or being put upon us and we're being convinced of is that women aren't devilish, that women aren't bad, that they're not doing rotten, terrible things to men. And we're not allowed to talk about it. You see, we're not allowed to share it. And to talk about it is to invite that evil, those bad things into your life. Right? That is why it has taken so long for Mgtow to grow, for men to grow a pair. You see, because they've been convinced that the evil that's happening isn't evil. There's no other explanation for why men would line up to be emasculated, to be destroyed. Why they would participate in it in the form of white knights and being manginas and accepting that they need to destroy themselves, castigate themselves, right? Castrate themselves. Everything that has to do with self-deprecation and self-destruction, we've been convinced it's a good idea. Because the devil is right there, wearing her dress, saying, it's not what it seems, right? You're not seeing this. This isn't really happening. Just put your head back in the yoke and start pulling the plow. Man, what a fucking trick, huh? Imagine if I could walk up to a bank, walk into the bank, walk up to the teller, and say, this isn't a robbery. It's not a robbery. What I want you to do, though, is open that cash drawer, pull out a big pile of cash and set it up here. I'm going to carry it out of the bank. And it's not robbery. Yep, you walk into a bank, clean them out, right? And it's not really a crime. It doesn't exist. People aren't allowed to talk about it. Wouldn't that be great? Go up to a bank, take the money out you want. No one's allowed to say a crime occurred, nothing bad happened. Yep, the devil doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. The same as there was a Jeep behind me and now there's not. Wow, no crime there. That's the problem we have. That's the problem we're facing with feminism, with the empowerment of women. It's quite horrific, isn't it? And everyone, it seems, except for men with spines and men with balls. Why are we the only ones that see it? Or is it that other men and everyone knows what's going on, but they pretend they don't? That's the part I don't understand, is reality's reality. If I want to buy something, I have to get a job and earn money to pay for it. That's reality. If I want a job, I'm going to have to work and work my ass off in order to keep the job and get paid for it. Right? That's reality. But the world that everyone pretends is reality is you can just go borrow a shit pile of money and buy whatever you want and then try and get a job and then pretend like you're working. It's all bullshit. It's all smokescreen and crap. Right? That's the world that has all these women in it now. It's fucking fantasy land. Right? It is fantasy land out here. where you can just walk up, meet a guy, give him a blowjob, and take his money. And there's no crime committed. You see, and it really isn't a crime. A blowjob isn't a crime, right? But what we're looking at here is the exchange of one concept of reality for another. And then the denial, the absolute denial that there is something, there is not anything wrong with what's going on. The greatest trick the devil ever played was to convince everyone else he doesn't exist. Turns out it's a she. And when you have to accept the premise that the devil doesn't exist, then you're not allowed to see the devil's games either. And this is where the rubber meets the road. Right? If the devil doesn't exist, then all of the lies, the tricks, the thievery doesn't exist. And that's where we're at. That is the huge problem we've got. You can't see the devil, you can't see what's going on. But if you start to look around, as Mgtow do, and look and see and recognize what is going on in our culture, in our society, in our personal lives, you start to see a pattern of control, a pattern of corruption, a pattern of theft. And there's a common denominator in it. There's a common denominator in it. We are being controlled with our penises, with our cocks. We're being told that, it's not even ours. At this point, it's not yours. You can't use it. You can't have it. That's how deep this deception has gone. That's how crazy it is. And Mgtow men are taking their cocks back and saying, I have the penis. I'm the man. Right? I'm the prize. I'm the one that works hard. None of this exists without me. When you see you see all of the things that are being done to us, it's not just on a personal level, it's a social level, it's a political level, it's a professional level. Right? It's a psychological level. You start to understand where it's coming from. There's a bunch of devils running around in red dresses. Right? And what are you told? Right? You're told you have to get married. You're told that you need to have kids. And that if you don't marry women and you don't have kids with her, then our country will be destroyed, our society destroyed, our world destroyed. Because you've bought the lie, you've bought the system if you fall for that. That's the trick. And the only one that has to pay for it is you. The greatest trick ever played was to convince us that the devil didn't fucking exist. And then the devil, once she was invisible, move around, move amongst us, right? And do whatever she wants. There was this episode, I think, of The Twilight Zone, where criminals would be given a mark on their head. And everyone had to ignore them. They could do whatever they want. They could steal. They could sleep. They could get food. But no one was allowed to recognize them. No one was allowed to see them. In fact, they just basically became invisible. It's an interesting episode. But that's kind of how this concept of feminism is moving around in and amongst us. We see the mark of it on everyone, men and women, right? That operate and use its tenets and justify its existence and give into it. But they see it's there, and they watch how it steals and it takes and it costs, but everyone just totally ignores it. But it is destructive. It's not benign. It's not benign. And that's why we've attached the significance of the devil icon or the devil name to things that are bad, right? Because they do cost. They do have a price. They are